Thank you, Melis. Hi, everyone. You can hear me, right? Yeah, okay. We are here to talk about some practical side of prosumer economy and the theoretical background that my panelists have. So we will start with Defne, and I would love to learn about your background, which is related to your case studies in the field. Maybe you can share some insights regarding, how can I say, I don't know, but I'm very excited right now.
Just pass it on to me. We'll
Yeah,
do
please.
it together. No worries. Good afternoon. It's lovely to have you here. We truly do not know how to handle this conversation because we all come from different backgrounds, and we will try to bring everything that we collected on the way to the table, and hopefully you will have a couple questions at the end, but we will not have the time. We'll continue outside if you wish. Yes, it's past time. I was a slow food convivium leader for 10 years in Istanbul. And probably you all are kind of aware of slow food's co-producer term. That's an ancient term for prosumer, I guess. Slow food believes that we all have communities, and these communities work together, so no one is actually a consumer, no one is actually a producer, but everyone's a consumer and a producer at the same time. But only if we work together, we can produce the world that we want to live in. So slow food emphasizes on the fact that consumers have quite a say in this matter on how things should be produced, how they can be produced, and as a result, what kind of a world can be built. Slow food believes and trusts the consumer or the co-producer in that way, building a better society, a better planet, a sustainable future is at our hands. Okay. Having that on the side, in 2009 it was, if I'm not mistaken, we read an article in the newspaper saying that the beloved fish of Istanbul, bluefish, we call it lüfer, is about to go extinct. Now that was quite a shocking news to us because none of us were marine biologists. We did not have any say in the field. We were kind of young and old, mostly women kind of a group, trying to figure out a safe passage in the food environment of a big city. Not knowing what is safe, what kind of a producer to work with. Nothing was all that simple in 2009. So when this news arrived, we said, all right, now what can we do about this? We went to Istanbul University, started discussing the situation with marine biologists. They all had their say. They said, well, sustainable fisheries is kind of a big dream, but if we want to manage that, we have to stop overfishing. Okay, overfishing. If that is the case, do we deal with quotas or do we deal with size? They said size. Okay, size. Then what's the size? A sustainable fishing policy, they said, needs to be built on the reproduction cycle of the fish. So a fish needs to at least reproduce once to be caught. Now that's simple for us, not being, of course, academicians or marine biologists. This made sense. So we started this huge campaign. In 2010, we gathered the fishermen, we invited the governmental bodies from Ankara and Istanbul. We invited chefs, cooks, all sorts of people, and had an amazing discussion. We said, all right, we're starting a campaign. No one is to catch bluefish under 24 centimeters. Simple, right? No, it is not. Then became the negotiations. In my practice, pro-consumerism actually is all about negotiations. You negotiate a better future, a better solution. You have to set a goal, and you have to negotiate that goal with different people. I mean, you think consumers are a homogeneous body. No, they are not. You have consumers who can buy Lüfer, big size Lüfer, and you have consumers who can buy only small Lüfer because they all differ in price, right? They say, I mean, because you are going to eat this size of Lüfer, I'm not going to eat this Lüfer, huh? No, no way. Funny, huh? Yes, it's a negotiation. You have to come up with terms, and then comes the fishermen. They say, well, we are under a huge debt. If we do not fish this fish, then we're going to go broke. Do you know how many people my kayık, my ship feeds? How many mouths I have? Okay, that's yet another. And then the governmental body comes. There is an economy to that. If we do not fish, then the Greeks will fish that fish, since they are migrating. So I think prosumer is the person who best manages to tell a good story about a better future and invites others to the discussion, to the negotiation table, and eventually everyone will kind of evolve in the process. I was a butcher before. My background is in food. I was a chef and then became a butcher. I had a steakhouse and all through this process, actually, I became a vegan. Only because I saw how the fish was being caught. Yeah, despite the fact that I've been into slaughterhouses before. I've been there. I mean, I felt it right here when I saw all those poor animals hanging upside down. My body reacted, but I did not really understand the fact. Only after I started negotiating the terms of a better future, it made sense. So I think prosumerism is a negotiation practice that will take us to a different level. It may not be all that bright and beautiful. I mean, the photographs I saw a few hours ago on the next room, where consumerism is gray and dim and prosumerism is green and wonderful. It may not be that wonderful because we have a civilization that we are going to carry along us. Whatever was our practice before is going to affect our future for sure. But that should not stop us from evolving. So I think we should invite everyone to this negotiation table. And that should help. Thank you.
Defne, as far as I remember, there was a funny campaign about the size of the fish, right, in the past.
Yeah.
That was Greenpeace.
Really?
That was Greenpeace,
yes,
and all because of that we were beaten by the fishermen. They talked about their size, of course, and we were all women talking to men, and they were told, mine is 18 centimeters only. Oh God, now how do you respond to that? It happens. But I mean, this is a negotiation, of course. These are lovely anecdotes at the end of the day. No, we did not really save the fish. That's for sure. Still, bluefish is about to go extinct, if you ask me. And we have worse problems at the moment. The Marmaris is, it's in trouble. But all because of that, I think Gezi happened. Mm-hmm. Today is the 11th year. I think the city of Istanbul, the people of Istanbul recognized the fact through Lüfer that this is not only a city. It is also a living body with fish, with trees, with waters. I mean, it became a plural something rather than a human singular thing. So it's a wonderful thing to negotiate, to be open to negotiate a better future, to a better practice. And prosumerism, I think, will help us in that direction. Thank you, Serhan. Thank you for reminding and giving me another chance.
And Burcu, would you like to give some example about your experience, your mushroom life?
How this mushroom business evolved from where? Actually, I started with Evren Yıldırım. She's also my co-founder and my partner in 2017 to help people to understand them to grow their own food in cities. This is how it started first, and we started to build urban farms around Istanbul. And community gardens. But we also had some side products with our business, and one of them was grow with yourself mushroom kits at that time. So actually at Good for Trust, I just look at the numbers before coming here. Almost in 2 years, we sold around 1,000 of mushroom kits through Good for Trust. And at that time, while this business is going on, I met my other partner, Cem Dildar. He's a material scientist and engineer. So we discussed about if we can make a product from mushroom mycelium. So I knew that before there were a few companies in the world doing that. So we started to make some experiments. Actually, we also first went to Istanbul Biology, by the way, department. But they help us a lot. But we had a few problems there about contamination and some other research problems. But anyway, now we have our own laboratory in Istanbul. So shortly, briefly, in our business, currently we are producing products from mushroom mycelium and agricultural waste. And these wastes are coming from several regions from Turkey, mostly from Izmir region. These are the hemp hurt wastes, and they are not able to be used on textile. And the mycelium is also coming from Turkey. We work with a biologist, and she produced for us, and we also learn how to produce them. And we all do this in our laboratory. So our product, actually our goal is to replace styrofoam in the future, basically. And we are trying to achieve that almost in 2 years now. What else about our story?
Yeah, maybe we can pass to Serhan, and after that you can talk about your negotiation side with the company. But before that, Serhan, would you like to share something about your energy and fintech sector and the relation between prosumer economy? What do you do? Şu an kapalı.
Yes, sure. Basically, the concept of prosumer economy requires production and consumption at the same site. And so these are also the principles of distributed generation, where you generate and consume at the same site. And this is the future trend that at the end of the day, I think that's how we're gonna live. Everyone is gonna have to take care of themselves in the future. To give you an example, if you are, thank you, Melis, this is helpful. Basically, if you have a small production facility for anything, you need to pay attention to how you can produce your own energy, or even water, or even food. This is doable. For energy, I will talk about details, but there's a lot you can do. And this way, you will not depend on centralized system like the transmission line, and you don't have to worry about, electricity is cut, or there is water shortage. You can actually produce themselves at your own site. So these are important. And also for fintech, I mean, fintech also supports the concept of distributed generation. It gives a certain flow, and basically fintech will allow prosumers to pay for or exchange products digitally, which is a very practical method. Things flow very fast, and it's going to be easier for people. And I was involved in both industries, as you know, and we work with a lot of SMEs and prosumers and it was very helpful for them to grow and facilitated their business. And finally, I would like to emphasize the importance of 100% renewable energy, which we have been talking about for decades. So in the future, we are in the process of getting rid of fossil fuels. So everything has got to be 100% renewable energy. And this is coming. At the moment, still we're at 20-25% of renewable energy in our country. And countries, for instance, our country, Türkiye, declared that we want to be carbon-free. They want to reach 100% renewable energy by 2053. And I don't know why they have 53. That's another question. What does it have to do with conquering Istanbul? But I mean, when I joke about this with ministerial officials, they say that it's just 3 years more. And I tell them it's got to be as early as possible. And I think these countries should declare their objectives much earlier, not later than 2030, because we're fighting climate change. And if I know by the fact that technically, if governments are behind this, their will is behind this, we can transform everything in 3 years. And if this is too fast, maybe if they want to do this at a slow pace, maximum 5 years. So I believe we as prosumers should take the lead and try to utilize 100% renewable energy for whatever we do. Thank you.
Thank you. It's not easy to answer the question how it can be, but what is the missing part to take action? Maybe you can add something on that. While you are negotiating with the municipalities or the ministerial sites, what could be done to take the steps forward to have the collaboration with the ministries?
I wish that was an answerable question. I mean, if I knew, I would have done it. I mean, you just try. That's all about trying. That's all about pushing the limits. You do a little bit, and then someone else comes and puts a little on top of it. At the end of the day, someone will come and clear this table and place a deliciously crisp white cotton tablecloth and invite us all to sit and enjoy. But who did all the work? We all did the work together, right? Whatever food is going to come to the table. So there's not just one person or one action that is going to take us to that table. It is an ongoing process. So as I said, we were not able to save the fish at the end of the day. Our waters, our marine life is still under dire circumstances, under threat. But we have learned more than we did before. Now we are far more open to saving the planet. If not Istanbul, if not the bluefish, we know better. And our children most likely will know even better, and they will mimic us while they're talking behind us. They'll do better, they'll do grander things. It is a process. This is how the civilization works. It's not always an upward thing, but it is always a forward thing. I'm sorry for not being all that helpful with my answer, but I mean, if anyone knows, please join us and give us a clue, but I don't think there is one answer to that question.
Yeah. Burcu, how do you outweigh the challenges you experience with the companies right now while introducing your products to change their behavior?
It's very hard to change the behavior, definitely. So it's a new product. We need to convince them, all these companies. We face so many challenges, but the first one that comes to my mind is nobody. I don't want to say nobody, but most of the companies are not willing to take risk. Firstly, all the companies want to, decrease their carbon tax. They don't want to face any regulations, and they want to keep their brands, brand image powerful in the Europe and US market. But at the end, when it comes to work together or pay some extra fees about on some research or other the work we have done so far, we don't see that they are easily convinced at that side. They expect everything from us, like a ready product at the end, and use it in a very, very easy way, because they are all the expectations are like, I want a product very similar to styrofoam, that will protect my all products, my glass jars or whatever. I want it cheap and impactful. Also, it should decrease my carbon tax and other regulations that I will face in the future. This should help me. But it's so... Yes. And it should be ready very soon. And it should be like the amount, maybe 10,000 in 1 month kind of, orders we got. We are trying to tell them that, yeah, this is a long process and it's still going on. But if you want to deal with these issues, we should act together. And this is very hard to find these kind of companies in Turkey. Actually, there are a few. Now we are working with them, really good consumer electronics companies that we convince them. So we are on the same path with them. But most of them, I can say, it's so hard to convince. So maybe I can tell later about this. That's I always say that it's very good to work with Good for Trust, because this is a very good community that you can improve your product by selling to a small group, and at the same time you can, I can say, continue your R&D and also make some money at the same time. But maybe this is another round I can talk about.
Okay. Serhan, do you think any sustainable energy solutions can leverage the effort of these technologies can leverage our effort for reaching circular economy solutions through your insights?
Yes. I mean, there are many technologies that I can mention, but other than renewable energy technologies or the technologies that I'm going to talk about in terms of energy, I can say that in terms of fintech system, I think blockchain could be deployed by prosumers. So this will be very useful, especially for contracts and stuff like that. But for energy, so we can talk about production. We can talk about storage, and we can talk about transportation or transmission. So for production, the first thing that comes into mind is obviously solar energy. And when I say solar energy, people think about solar panels, but for me, panels is like a primitive way of packaging solar cells. So what's important there is the solar cell. And you can create all kinds of products with solar cells. You can develop products like solar tiles, solar cells for the facade of a building, or solar films, and you can just cover roads. You can cover even cars. What we call vehicle integrated PV. So there's all kinds of products that can be utilized. So I mean, for production, there are other types of renewable energy, like wind. Maybe you can think about wind. Okay, the turbines are getting larger and larger. Yeah, this is true. This is the trend. Right now, the norm became like 7-8 gigawatt turbines. But on the other hand, there is another trend that it goes the other way, which is turbines are getting smaller and smaller for distributed generation. So you can utilize also micro turbines. So this is important. And another thing that comes into my mind is that's going to be very useful, heat pumps. Check out heat pumps. I think that's going to be also standard in many houses, because underneath the ground is like an oven, and there is excess heat that we can benefit from. So you can utilize heat pumps. And there are other technologies like biogas plant, even micro-size biogas plants, and we can talk about hydrogen as well. But hydrogen, I'm talking about green hydrogen. This is it's going to be very influential in my mind, because hydrogen is something that provides base load. Base load is energy available at all times. You know, you can store it. You can store hydrogen. You can burn it via technologies of fuel cells, and then you can convert it into electricity, and you can use it anytime you want. Green hydrogen is important for storage purposes, and also for storage, I can say simply batteries to store electricity. And there are technologies also to store heat, heat storage systems, like made out of molten salt and stuff like that. So when people talk about energy, people only think about electricity, but there's also heat, which is an important element. And as you know, in southern Turkey, we have all these heat collectors on the roofs, and this is very common all over the region. This is going to be probably changed. The next step is going to be either solar system or there are hybrid systems that on the same panel you can produce electricity and heat at the same time. So these are storage technologies I can mention, and then there are transportation or transmission technologies. You simply for distributed generation purposes, it's micro and smart grid systems are going to be vital for the whole system. Sometimes you'll be able to generate power, and if you have excess power, you'll be able to give it to your neighbor and exchange and barter things with your neighbor in the same neighborhood. So these are the technologies I can talk about.
Thank you. Shall I pass through Burcu once again? Is that okay for you? All right. Iterating your product with one of the producers in Good for Trust. Maybe you can give some example about what you have done with Mumo Wrap.
Yes, we work with Mumo Wrap. Actually, they are here today, but I don't see in the salon. Işınsu and Erdem. So after 1.5 years, actually, our research and R&D was developed. It almost lasted 1.5 years for the packaging side. And at the end of this 1.5 years, we wanted to make a try with a real customer, of course. So we went to Good for Trust community, and we know Mumo for a very long time. So we asked them, would you like to work with us? Would you like to design a product together for your glass jars? So they happily accepted that, and for their, maybe you used before that, they have a very nice Arap sabunu product in Turkey, very well known. So now their packages from mycelium and agricultural waste, this product, and this is the first example actually in Turkey, a branded partnership, and a few example in the world, I can say. And following this partnership, of course, we wanted to learn more. We want to get the customer feedback. So it was a very good chance for us to learn also. So we sent their customers to a survey to get some feedback because we didn't know that what are they doing at the end with this product. Are they composting it, because it's a compostable product at the same time, but you can use it for another reason, for your other jars, or you can plant something in it. There are so many benefits of and multiple use of the product. Anyway, we wanted to learn that, or did they like the surface? How does it look? Or maybe some people they just didn't like the feeling. So all these information are so important for us. So it was a great chance, comparative to work with the big companies, I can say. Because when you work with the big companies, actually there is one big consumer electronics company currently we work with. They're also very supportive to us, but all the process is taking too much time. So maybe 1.5 year, 2 years, you are just working for one product, and you need to get approval from so many departments, let's say sales department, marketing, R&D, and others. And you sign so many papers, and at the end you are able to get this feedback from somebody. But when we work with, in this community companies, all the feedbacks are coming in a very short time. Your process is really fast, I can say, and you can improve yourself and your product.
Yeah. Thank you. Defne, would you like to say examples about the local communities' interest and capability, like Good for Trust experience as a council of 7 member? What can we disseminate this effort? How can we disseminate this effort with different companies in Good for Trust network?
That has been the main discussion actually for quite a long time now. I mean, at Good for Trust, we started to build a community, first of all, a community of like-minded people working towards a certain goal, having a similar destination in mind. But of course, this also was a marketplace. So we had to bring small-scale producers, mainly like-minded producers inside, and try to negotiate the terms with the consumers and the producers within the Good for Trust group platform. And as a council of 7 members, our aim was to figure out through a certain list of questions that we presented to the producers to understand their capability of change within themselves and within the community. That was the most difficult part, I must say, because you ask a small-scale producer who mainly deals with animal husbandry and say like apple trees all day long, and you ask them about prosumer economy. That's even if they know the terminology, for them to sit down and write a short paragraph on it so that you evaluate their situation is already a huge leap to overcome. So that was one side of it. I think we managed to bring it to a certain level, and then our beloved Uygar, he said, now we need to open up this marketplace to a wider producer group, which meant that we have to include producers who are not all that aware of what we are doing, but may in the process turn into be a better producer and turn our communities towards a better future. That even was more difficult because, I mean, me being a vegan, it's difficult for me to animal husbandry production facility, right? But if you do not do that, then you do not have any cheesemongers in the community. So Uygar came up with this wonderful tactic of saying, okay, we have now levels. Since you are 7, if 5 of you say okay, then this is a good producer. If 2 of you say okay, this is a trial kind of a process, we'll see it. But then, okay, that we said okay, and we started dealing with that. But the next level was even more difficult because all those that did not get a 5 had to be re-evaluated in time. Now, that is the moment we are trying to overcome at the moment. But on top of it, the ones who got 5, we also have to understand if they are still 5 or they dropped to 4 or have risen to 6 or 7. So this is as I said in the beginning, this is a negotiation. It is a constant negotiation within yourself, within your community, be it a consumer, a producer, be it a marketplace, be it terminologies, it really doesn't matter. We are trying to tell each other a beautiful story about a beautiful or better future. And we are all trying to negotiate paths together towards that goal. This is going to last forever. I don't see an end to that. We are going to try, sometimes fail, make mistakes. But eventually, I think this is going to be one of the biggest bricks that we are going to put at the foundation of a better future. So it is worthy of our time, I guess. Was this a better answer than the one before?
Thank you, Defne. Serhan, last and not least, but final contributions. And would you like to recommend anything for the entrepreneurship field to take your examples that you mentioned before, to take into and improve their approach regarding energy sector?
Yeah, sure. You see, we're done with our time. I told you time passes fast.
Yeah.
So it was a good session. So I'm just gonna say final thought. Whatever you do, prosumers, entrepreneurs, you do everything in terms of you plan and act in terms of circular economy. This is very important. Just put that in mind. Whenever you do something, you think how it's going to fit in for circular in terms of circular economy, and you need to follow new technologies. Sometimes they don't seem to be available, especially in Turkey, but I mean they are becoming more and more available. So you need to follow it carefully you need to research and try to utilize whatever is available. And basically, people like us, prosumers, we need to set up an example for the rest of the public, and basically the principles of distributed generation, circular economy, implement that in every way of your life. Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and thank you, my panelists, taking care of me. And stage is yours.